Dear friends, welcome to my Library of Wonders. Today, I, your faithful storyteller Alexian, will tell you a tale about an incredible journey to a land where the most cherished dreams come true. But before we embark on this magical adventure, I want to remind you that our library has a magical workshop. Here, you can order a personalized fairy tale for yourself or as a gift for your loved ones. The link to the workshop is in the description below this video. Now, make yourselves comfortable, for my magical compass is already pointing the way to the land of wonders. In a small village surrounded by dense forests and high hills, there lived a girl named Spark. Her name suited her perfectly, as she was incredibly curious and inquisitive. Spark could spend hours watching butterflies, studying how flowers grew, or listening to the wind whispering through the branches of trees. She always asked questions. Why do the stars shine? Where does the river go? What lies beyond the horizon? Her parents, simple farmers, often smiled as they watched her restless nature. "You're like a little spark, always looking for a place to leap," her father would say. But deep down, Spark dreamed of something greater. She felt that beyond her village lay a world full of wonders, and one day she would surely find it. One evening, as the sun had already set beyond the horizon and the sky was adorned with the first stars, Spark sat on her favorite hill. She gazed at the stars and thought, if only I could go to a place where dreams come true. Suddenly, a small glowing stone fell before her. The stone was warm and shimmered with all the colors of the rainbow. Spark carefully picked it up, and suddenly she heard a voice. "Spark, you have been chosen to journey to the land of wonders. But remember, the light of your heart will always guide you, even in the darkest times." A whirlwind of light swirled around her, and in the next moment, she found herself in a completely different place. Before her eyes unfolded an amazing world where tall trees with branches like caramel ribbons stretched toward the sky, and their leaves shimmered with a golden glow as if coated in sweet glaze. Between these trees flowed rivers filled with thick, aromatic chocolate, softly murmuring as if singing a sweet melody. The riverbanks were strewn with colorful candies, and the air was filled with the warm, enticing scent of vanilla and cocoa. In the sky above this magical landscape, colorful birds circled, leaving sparkling trails behind them, like rainbows. Their songs sounded like gentle music, filling Spark's heart with joy and wonder. She could hardly believe her eyes. Everything around her seemed to be the embodiment of her wildest dreams. "Welcome to the land of wonders," a voice rang out. Before Spark appeared a tall man in a long robe adorned with stars. His eyes glowed with kindness, and in his hands he held a staff that sparkled like the night sky. "I am the keeper of this land. To stay here, you must pass 3 trials. Each will bring you closer to the greatest wonder of all." Spark nodded, her eyes alight with anticipation. The keeper waved his hand, and right before Spark, a path made of bright crystals appeared. "Step boldly onto this path and discover the trials that await you," the keeper said warmly. She walked along the path, winding between the caramel trees, when she heard a soft sobbing. It was a small rabbit sitting under a bush covered in berries that looked like precious gems. His burrow had been flooded by the river, and he didn't know where to go. Spark knelt beside him, stroked his soft fur, and said, "Don't cry, I'll help you." She gathered twigs and leaves and built him a cozy little home under a large tree. "Thank you, kind girl," said the rabbit, his eyes shining with gratitude. He pulled a golden key from his tiny pouch, which sparkled like the sun. "I found this key in the forest, but I don't need it. However, I feel that it will be useful to you. Take it. It will open a door that leads you further." Spark thanked the rabbit and continued on her way. The path began to narrow, and tall bushes started to appear around her, intertwining to form arches. Suddenly, she found herself in a forest where silence reigned, broken only by the whisper of the wind. The forest was dark, and every rustle made her heart skip a beat. Shadows, as if alive, moved between the trees, and Spark felt fear creeping over her. But then she remembered the words she had heard when she first arrived in this land. "The light of your heart will always guide you." She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and imagined her heart glowing like a tiny star. The light dispelled the shadows, and the forest was filled with a gentle radiance. At the edge of the forest, she was met by a fairy holding a silver bell. She was dressed in a gown that shimmered like morning mist. "This bell will help you find the truth when you are in doubt," she said, handing Spark the gift. Spark continued her journey. Now the path led her to a tall mountain, its peak shrouded in clouds. She climbed higher and higher, the air growing cooler, while glowing butterflies fluttered around her, leaving golden trails in their wake. At the mountain's summit stood a mysterious sphinx. His eyes, deep and wise, looked straight into her soul. He asked her a question. "What is the most valuable thing in the world?" Spark thought for a moment. She remembered the rabbit she had helped, the light of her heart that had guided her through the forest, and the bell that rang softly in her hands, as if reminding her of something important. "The most valuable thing in the world is kindness, courage, and love," she replied. The Sphinx smiled and handed her a starry amulet. "This amulet will open the way to the final wonder. But remember, it only works when you believe in yourself." Spark descended the mountain, and before her appeared a massive door adorned with stars. She inserted the key, rang the bell, and the amulet in her hands began to glow brightly. The door slowly opened. Beyond it was a garden where trees bore golden fruits, and the air was filled with the scent of happiness. The keeper stood at the entrance and said, "You have proven yourself worthy of being part of the land of wonders. But remember, the greatest wonders always live within your heart." But Spark knew her home awaited her and asked the keeper to send her back. "You can always return here if you follow the light of your heart," he said. From that day on, Spark lived with the certainty that wonders exist and that kindness, courage, and love can open the doors to the most incredible worlds. That's the story, dear friends. But it's time for us to return, for my magical compass is already calling us back to the Library of Wonders. Now tell me, if you found yourself in the land of wonders, what trials would you face? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget, in our magical workshop, you can order your very own fairy tale. Until next time, and may magic always be with you.